If you could travel back 20,000 years, the first thing you might notice isn't the humans. It's the animals. The world felt bigger, wilder, more dangerous. Across much of Earth roamed giant creatures known as megafauna, animals far larger than many living today. Ancient humans didn't learn about them from museums. They saw them, tracked them, hunted some, avoided others, and feared many of them. To understand their world, we have to meet the giants they lived beside. Imagine standing on a frozen plain. Then the ground begins to tremble. In the distance, a herd appears, massive, silent, moving through the snow like living mountains. These are woolly mammoths, close relatives of modern elephants, but built for Ice Age survival. Their bodies were covered in thick fur, their tusks curved outward like giant ivory swords. Some weighed as much as several cars combined. To ancient humans, a mammoth was both opportunity and danger. One successful hunt could feed an entire group for weeks. But one mistake could be fatal. Humans used mammoth meat for food, their hides for shelter, their bones for tools. Some groups even built structures from mammoth bones. To us, mammoths belong in museums. To them, they were simply part of the landscape. Now imagine walking through a misty grassland at dawn. A deer steps from the fog. At first, it seems ordinary. Then it raises its head, and suddenly, you realize its antlers are wider than a small car. This was the Irish elk, one of the largest deer ever to live. To ancient humans, seeing a herd of these giants must have felt almost unreal. Yet they were completely real. For thousands of years, humans and giant deer shared the same world. Most people picture ancient humans living safely inside caves. But there was one problem. Humans weren't always the first ones there. Imagine searching for shelter during a freezing winter. Eventually, you find the perfect cave. Dry, protected, safe, or so you think. Then you hear breathing in the darkness. Slow, heavy, deep. Because caves were also home to cave bears. To ancient humans, entering a cave wasn't always finding safety. Sometimes it meant entering the territory of something much bigger than yourself. Now imagine night falling. The fire burns low. The group sits quietly. Then you hear it. A howl. Another answers from somewhere beyond the trees. Then another. Dire wolves once roamed parts of North and South America, larger and heavier than many modern wolves. Powerful hunters capable of bringing down enormous prey. Ancient humans likely heard them long before they saw them. And perhaps that was the frightening part. Not seeing the predator, only hearing it, knowing it was somewhere beyond the firelight. But even dire wolves weren't the most famous predators ancient humans encountered. For that title, we need to meet Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat. Imagine a predator built like a lion. Muscular, powerful, silent. Now give it canine teeth nearly 11 inches long. To ancient humans, seeing one emerge from tall grass would have been terrifying. Unlike wolves, Smilodon relied on ambush. One moment, everything seemed calm. The next, a predator exploded from hiding. Now for something even stranger. Imagine a sloth. Then make it the size of an elephant. This was Megatherium, the giant ground sloth, one of the largest mammals in the Americas. When standing upright, it towered above humans. Its claws were enormous. Its body was massive. And yet, it was related to the small tree sloths alive today. Imagine seeing one rise onto its hind legs. You might not even realize you're looking at a sloth. Ancient Australia was filled with strange animals. Among them was Procoptodon, a giant kangaroo unlike anything alive today. For the first humans arriving in Australia, the landscape must have felt different, because nowhere else on Earth looked quite like it. The animals were different. The environment was different. Everything felt unfamiliar. Danger didn't only come from the ground. In ancient New Zealand, the sky belonged to something extraordinary. Haas eagle, one of the largest eagles ever known. Its wings stretched nearly 10 feet across. Its talons were powerful enough to kill giant flightless birds called moa. Imagine looking up and seeing a predator larger, than any eagle alive today circling overhead. For early humans arriving in New Zealand, even the skies contained danger. And speaking of moa, these birds were astonishing. Some species stood over 11 feet tall, yet they couldn't fly. For millions of years, they lived in New Zealand without major land predators. Then humans arrived, and everything changed. Within a relatively short period of time, the moa disappeared forever. A reminder that humans were not only witnesses to extinction. Sometimes, they became part of the story. And then something happened. Across the world, the giants began disappearing. Not all at once, not for the same reason, but one by one. The world of giants came to an end. Woolly mammoths, Irish elk, dire wolves, cave bears, megatherium, procoptodon, hoss eagle, saber-toothed cats. Many vanished forever. Scientists still debate exactly why. Climate change played a role. Human hunting likely played a role. In many cases, it was probably both. A changing world pushed these animals to their limits, and many never recovered. The strangest thing about these animals isn't that they existed. It's that humans knew them, not in museums, not in textbooks. They saw woolly mammoths crossing frozen plains, heard dire wolves howling through the darkness, shared landscapes with Irish elk, avoided cave bears, feared saber-toothed cats. The creatures we call prehistoric were simply everyday wildlife to our ancestors. And maybe that's the most fascinating part of all. Human history didn't begin in the world we know. It began in a world of giants. A world so different that if we could visit it today, it might feel less like the past and more like another planet. And now, all that remains are bones, footprints, and stories. Quiet reminders of a lost world that no human will ever see again.